We've all heard about the mind-body connection, but is it real? Like, actually real? Not just some nice, fuzzy idea, but a hardwired biological fact. Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the actual science. We're talking about how your thoughts, your expectations, literally get translated into physical, chemical events inside your very own cells.
So let's start with this classic question. Is the placebo effect just in your head? I mean, we hear that all the time, right? And the question itself kind of dismisses it, like it's not real, it's imaginary. But what if that's the completely wrong way to look at it? What if the fact that it starts in your head is exactly what makes it so incredibly powerful?
Okay, I want you to think of it like this. Your brain, it's literally the most sophisticated pharmacy on the entire planet. And it's on call 24/7. Based on the signals it gets, signals of hope or signals of fear, it can dispense this incredibly powerful medicine that jumpstarts healing. Or it can release a potent poison that creates the perfect conditions for disease.
So there's a scientific term for all this, and it's psychosomatic. Now, I know for way too long that word has been used to just brush things off, right? As if saying something's psychosomatic means it's not real. But its actual meaning is so much deeper. It literally comes from the Greek for mind and body. It's the name for the biological bridge that translates our mental software into our physical hardware.
All right, so how does this bridge actually work? What are the nuts and bolts? Well, it all comes down to this really brilliant mechanism in the brain. It's called the Unified Anticipatory System. Just think of it as a prediction machine. It's constantly trying to guess what's going to happen next. And based on that guess, it can only really send two main signals to the rest of the body. And here they are. This really lays out the two opposing forces perfectly. On one side, you've got the safety signal. That's the placebo effect. Your brain anticipates healing, so it releases the good stuff, like endorphins and dopamine. But on the flip side, you've got the threat signal. That's the nocebo effect. Your brain anticipates danger, so it floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol. They're complete opposites, but they come from the exact same system. Two sides of the very same coin. But here's the thing. This system isn't perfectly balanced. It's got what's called a negativity bias, and honestly for a really good reason, our survival. I mean, think about it from an evolutionary standpoint. It was way more important for our ancestors to remember the one berry that made them sick than the 10 berries that were just fine. That's why the nocebo, that threat signal, is often faster, stronger, and much harder to shake. Our biology is literally hardwired to prioritize threats. Okay, so understanding this bias brings us to a huge blind spot in modern medicine. This is where it gets really, really interesting. We're about to see how the very method we use to test new drugs might actually be hiding the true power of that inner pharmacy we've been talking about. All right, so in a standard medical trial, right, scientists use this formula called the subtraction method to figure out if a new drug actually works. The logic seems simple enough on the surface. You just take the effect of the real pill and subtract the effect of the fake pill. So let's build this equation together. First up, you take the group that got the real drug, and let's say they see a 70% improvement in their symptoms. Pretty good, right? That's great. Okay, next, you take the group that got a sugar pill, the placebo, and hey, look at that, they also improved. Let's say they got 40% better. That right there, that's the mind-body effect in action. So the standard practice is to just subtract that 40% from the drug group's result.
And voila, you're left with what they call the real drug effect, 30%. But hang on a second, does that really make sense? Does our own body's healing power, our belief, just get subtracted away like it doesn't count? Or is something much more interesting going on here? Yeah, this simple math completely misses the point.
So how do we actually prove this is flawed? Well, there's this fascinating and pretty rarely done type of study. It's called the hidden treatment model, and it's exactly what it sounds like. A patient gets a real, effective medicine, but they have absolutely no idea they're getting it. And the results? They are absolutely staggering. When patients know they're getting a painkiller, that's the open treatment, they get a high level of relief. Makes sense. But when that exact same drug is given secretly, its effectiveness just plummets. I mean, get this. Some studies found that patients needed 50% more morphine to get the same level of relief when they didn't know they were getting it. That's incredible. So here's the real takeaway. The placebo effect isn't just added to the drug's effect. It multiplies it. It's a catalyst. Without that positive expectation, that safety signal, the body just stays in a threat state, pumping out stress chemicals. This creates what you could call biological friction. It forces the drug to literally fight against your own body's chemistry just to get its job done. And this is where things get really serious, because when that threat signal isn't just a temporary thing, when it becomes chronic, day in and day out, it's not just creating a little friction anymore. It's actively creating the conditions for disease. It's changing the very environment that our cells live in. The path from a thought to a sickness is, well, it's frighteningly direct. It starts with a chronic threat signal, maybe from a scary diagnosis or just persistent anxiety. That leads to a constant flood of stress hormones. This completely disrupts the delicate weather, if you will, of our cellular environment. And over time, that can lead to the development of real, objective, measurable disease. And let's be clear, this isn't some vague idea. The physical toll is incredibly concrete. We're talking about an immune system on overload, just pumping out inflammatory molecules. We're talking about stress hormones that can actually cause muscle and bone loss. And our natural cellular repair systems just getting shut down. Your body literally learns and wires itself for illness.
Okay, I know that sounds pretty bleak, but here's the most important part. The exact same system that can cause so much harm also holds the master key to healing. If we can really understand this mechanism, we can learn to harness that inner pharmacy and consciously, intentionally tip the scales back toward health.
Just look at this. This safety signal is the perfect physiological mirror image of the threat signal. It deactivates the stress axis, it suppresses cortisol, it reduces inflammation. I mean, it is the literal biological antidote. And think about this. It doesn't just add a benefit. It removes the brake that the threat signal was putting on your body's natural ability to heal itself.
And all of this leads us to a really powerful concept, and it's called cognitive sovereignty. What is that? It's the idea that you can become the authority of your own biology. It's the conscious, intentional act of choosing to broadcast those safety signals to your own nervous system, instead of just waiting around for a doctor or a pill to do it for you.
And really, this is the most important thing to remember. While sure, a doctor or a pill can be a powerful trigger for that safety signal, the mechanism itself is 100% internal. It's your mechanism. You do not need external permission to activate your body's own hardwired, built-in systems for repair and regeneration. So that leaves us with one final and very personal question. Knowing what you know now, that your mind is constantly sending these chemical instructions to your body, shaping the very environment of your cells, what healing signals are you going to choose to send today?